From Red Zone Weather in Bruton, Alabama, with meteorologist Spinks Meganson. Severe weather coverage starts right now.
2:21 p.m. and we have our first tornado warning of 2022 for parts of Washington and Clark counties in West Alabama. A possible tornado currently located near the community of Leroy along US Highway 43 is moving off just to the north of due east at about 30 miles per hour. That means if you're in the city of Jackson, Alabama, you need to implement your tornado safety plan right now. Good Sunday evening to you. I'm meteorologist Spinks Meganson. This is a supercell thunderstorm over in West Alabama that has prompted a tornado warning this afternoon. We have a complex of storms moving in from Mississippi at this point, but this is the only tornado warning that we have on the board as of 2:21 p.m. And so again, you're looking at parts of Washington and Clark counties over here in West Alabama. Current time 2:22 p.m. and this is on top of the community of Leroy near US Highway 43 coming across the Tombigbee River moving into areas near Jackson. And so what that means is, again, folks in Jackson, you need to heed the warning and do something about it. Get to the lowest floor of a site-built structure away from windows and doors, putting as many walls as you possibly can between you and the outside world. This is a warning, not a watch. In other words, we've already had the tornado watch, all these yellow counties shaded here. That's your tornado watch, valid until 6 o'clock, but this is a tornado warning, meaning we have a possible tornado near Leroy coming into areas near Jackson right now. Again, looking at a situation where we could have a possible tornado crossing the Tombigbee River coming into areas near Jackson over the next 2 to 3 minutes. You do not have time to try to get out and, get to a safe place. You need to heed shelter where you are. In other words, if you're in, let's say, a structure that's not the best structure to be in a tornado, this thing is on top of you if you're at Jackson. And so you've got to shelter in place where you are. Best possible place to be is at the lowest floor of a site-built structure away from windows and away from doors. However, you can't be in a car and you can't be in a mobile home. No driving at this point on US Highway 43 extending from Wagerville all the way back up to Toddtown and let's say Grove Hill just to be safe. So again, we're calling no driving at this point on US Highway 43 extending from Grove Hill all the way back down to Wagerville, right there where Alabama Highway 56 jets off and goes over to Chatham. Possible tornado is at Leroy. And again, this is the only tornado warning that we have on the board as of 2:24 p.m. Let's go ahead and zoom in on this cell because, again, we could have large hail in addition to the possible tornado. Let's actually go over to the iPad source because I do want to show you the velocity on this, and this really tells the tale of exactly where this possible tornado is. Right in through here, you see all that lightning very near the Tombigbee River. This is Washington County here. This is Clark County here. Jackson is right here. This is US Highway 43. State Highway 56 is here. So this is north of 56 at this point, right over Leroy. And this is coming into Jackson on the west side of town. But again, it doesn't matter specifically where you live in Jackson. That is a couplet right here. And when I say couplet, that means that we're observing counterclockwise circulation that could be producing a tornado moving just like this. And so again, this is going to be a big deal for Jackson in Clark County over the next 2, 3, 4 minutes. You got to seek shelter in Jackson at this point. Again, tracking a possible tornado coming into Jackson, Alabama. This thing is moving off to the northeast, really east-northeast, at about 30 miles per hour. So again, it can't be stressed enough. The city of Jackson, you got to be in that tornado safe space right now. Also, this storm is producing large hail. And so you see this other polygon here. What happened was the Weather Service chose to issue a severe thunderstorm warning box before they issued the tornado warning, and I think that was the right call. At first, this looked like a supercell that didn't really have a well-defined rotation center, but what's happened here, we now see well-defined rotation coming into areas near Jackson right now, and I mean this thing is going to be on top of Jackson in a matter of moments. This is Jackson, Alabama, not Jackson, Tennessee, or Jackson, Mississippi. You're looking at West Alabama. This is Clark County, Alabama, Washington County, Alabama here. Possible tornado coming into areas near Jackson over the next 3 minutes. And so, again, watching the situation in West Alabama, let's zoom out and show you what's happening across the entire area, because we do have other cells that are training off to the northeast. These storms over here in Conecuh, Escambia, and Santa Rosa counties, these are, some of them, broadly rotating. But so far, no tornado warnings other than this thing in parts of Washington and Clark counties over in West Alabama. We're also watching the cell back behind this tornado-warned storm. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, ma'am. I'm joined alongside executive producer Bentley Martin. Glad to have her here today as we continue to track these cells. Again, watching this cell in Greene County, Mississippi, this is actually back behind the tornado-warned storm that's coming into Jackson. We'll have to keep an eye on this because this is a separate supercell storm that's going to cross into Washington County in West Alabama. That one could potentially produce a tornado as it continues tracking to the east. All of this mess, these are supercell storms. In other words, these are discrete in nature. This is not yet a line, a squall line of storms that will move across our area a bit later. These are actually out ahead of the main batch of storms that are going to set up back here over Mississippi and ultimately cross our area, moving from northwest to southeast in the hours ahead. But again, let's get back in there and focus on our tornado warning, because this thing is right at Jackson, Alabama. So just to set the stage for you, again, where we are, this is Washington County back here. Leroy is here. St. Stephen's is here. If you're at St. Stephen's, which was formerly the capital of the state of Alabama many years ago, you are okay. So again, St. Stephen's is fine. You have nothing to worry about as this cell is now to your east. Leroy, you need to remain sheltered. If you're at Leroy, Alabama, you got to remain in that tornado hiding spot. And certainly, if you are at Jackson, Alabama, stay in that tornado safe place over the next few minutes, as the possible tornado is going to be right in through here, basically on the west side of town. But again, I don't want to be so specific. If you are in Jackson, Alabama, you need to be heeding the tornado warning and getting to that tornado safe place. That dot that you see right there, that kind of grayish, whitish dot, that could be an area of large hail, kind of embedded in that purple zone. Wouldn't be shocked to have hail up to the size of golf balls currently falling right here on the north side of Jackson. The municipal airport's down here on the south side of town. But again, if you are near, let's say Jackson High School, if you live within 5 miles of the high school, you need to be in that tornado safe place right now. Got another warning coming in. This is going to be a new severe thunderstorm warning. And while we get that up on the big radar, let's go over to the iPad, please, ma'am, because we want to look at the velocity on this, because I think this will tell the tale of this storm. You see the reflectivity. This is probably what you're accustomed to seeing. Let's go over to the iPad view. iPad. It's going to be the radar scope source. And you'll see that we have, again, a couplet here that is producing or potentially producing a tornado on the back flank of this. This is a classic supercell storm. That's the tornado watch that is in effect. Let's hang out there for 1 second. Because we do have Washington, Clark, Monroe, Wilcox, Marengo, Choctaw, Dallas, and Lowndes counties involved in the tornado watch. In other words, these are the zones and the counties where tornadoes are most likely to happen over the next few hours. And so again, let's check out the iPad source. There we go. And again, this is zoomed in real tight to Washington and Clark counties. That right there is still a well-defined area of rotation in the atmosphere. And tell you what, let's zoom out and see exactly how high the radar beam is. And you know what? I'm getting a message that the Weather Service is continuing the tornado watch. More counties are being added to that watch. We'll come back to that in a minute. Let's check out quickly, though, exactly how high the radar beam is. So it's hitting this storm at approximately 4,500 feet, which means we're getting a view at about 4,500 feet of this area of rotation coming into Jackson. And so that right there is going to be your possible tornado. I realize this looks like a bucket of spilled red paint to most people, but when you see this area of pink and green right in through there coming together. That lets us know that we could have a tornado on the ground in what is now southern Clark County, moving off to the northeast at about 30 miles per hour. Just checking our debris tracker there, don't really see anything, which is good. But again, this is just a classic supercell thunderstorm that is marching off to the northeast. Let's go back over to LD1 and we'll put the radar in motion while I check a few other things here. And again, watching the situation over in West Alabama where we have an active tornado warning that's on the board until this warning is going to be until 2:45 local time. Current time is 2:31, so we got 14 more minutes on this at least. And again, y'all know the drill. If I go silent, please bear with me as we have a ton of different data sources coming in. And if you see anything in the Facebook comments, of course, let us know. By the way, it is always immensely helpful if your power goes out. Let us know about it, regardless of where you are across the region. You may be involved in this warning, you may not. It doesn't matter. If your power goes out, be sure to let us know in the comments below, as we know that we have our wonderful electric co-ops, two of which are Red Zone Weather sponsors, by the way, Southern Pine and EREC. We appreciate their support. But they watch these feeds. And so, again, just looking at a situation where we have a possible tornado at Jackson, I am texting a few sources over in Jackson right now to see exactly what they are experiencing. And again, just looking at this from afar, we are located, by the way, if you're watching this feed perhaps for the first time, we know that we got folks on Facebook that randomly find Red Zone Weather. We are based in Brewton, Alabama, over here in Escambia County, so we are well out of the way of harm at this point. But again, this possible tornado is at Jackson. Some good news to pass along. If you are in any part of Washington County as of 2:33 p.m., the tornado warning has been canceled for Washington County. Let me step out of the way and I'll show you again. Washington County. This is Washington County here. You got Chatham right here, McIntosh, Wagerville, Leroy. If you're at Leroy, I'll give you an all clear. You can come out of that tornado hiding place at this point, as the warning is now exclusively for southern Clark County, including areas near Jackson. You've also got Toddtown, and also Walker Springs going to be involved in this active tornado warning. And look, this is a tiny, tiny polygon. We'll zoom out and show you Clark County, one of the bigger counties by area in the state of Alabama. But the beauty of these polygons is we include folks who are in danger and we leave folks out who are not in danger. And the cool thing is, for folks in Grove Hill, Fulton, Thomasville, Simcoe, Campbell, Coffeyville, you are okay. These cells up here are way below severe limits at this point. The only part of Clark County under the gun from a possible tornado is going to be this cell coming. I mean, this is right at Jackson at this point, right at Jackson, Alabama. So perhaps you're tuning in just now. If you know someone at Jackson, Alabama, call them, text them, tag them, do what you need to do to let them know they are under an active tornado warning. Let's go over to the graphics. And again, for the folks in Jackson, Alabama, this is what I want you to be doing right now. Let's take down the banner and screenshot this. This is something to have handy on your phone anytime we have an active tornado warning. For folks in Jackson, Alabama, Walker Springs, Toddtown, lowest floor, site-built structure away from windows and doors. Best possible thing on this list, put on a helmet, something to protect your head. You've got to protect your head and skull region because that's where most tornado injuries happen. Let's go back over to LD1. And again, possible tornado at Jackson, Alabama right now. Doesn't matter specifically where you are. If you are in the Jackson, Alabama zip code, if you got a Jackson, Alabama mailing address, in other words, you need to be implementing that tornado safe plan. I bet you, just looking at this signature, I would bet that there is some large hail, perhaps in excess of 1 inch in diameter, falling near or just north of Jackson, Alabama, at this point. Again, watching this potentially tornado-producing supercell over in West Alabama, and just scrolling through. Yeah, you know what? Here's a phenomenal photo. This is actually from Ben Ferry at Dixie Storms on Twitter. This is a really great shot of this storm. Do you have my my Mac up as a source? All right, let me get that set up for you so that we can view this. Really, this is part of this storm. All right, let's take my Mac full. And this is a ground truth view of what is happening. This is going to be US Highway 43 right in through here. This is going to be on the north side of Jackson. You're looking down into the storm. And again, possible tornado is going to be somewhere right in through there. I don't see a tornado on the ground, but let me tell you, that doesn't mean anything. This is one view from Ben Ferry. Again, incredible shot here looking south in Clark County on Highway 43. This thing is moving off to the northeast, just like that. So in other words, your storm motion would be just like that. Let's go back over to LD1. And again, for folks in Jackson, that is a gnarly looking storm. We want to thank Ben Ferry for that photo coming in on Twitter. But in addition to the tornado threat that's right at Jackson, Alabama right now, we also have a threat of large hail. Let's go back over to the iPad. And again, this is smack dab over Jackson, Alabama. Possible tornado potentially moving across town, and we don't say that to alarm anyone, but we do say that to let you know that if you have relatives or friends or family members in Jackson, Alabama, you need to call them, text them, tag them, let them know that there could be a tornado nearby now, right now. It's too late to try to get out and go somewhere. That tornado, if there is one down, would be right in Jackson proper. I mean, that's something you don't like to see with the tornado signature right over a populated area. I would imagine if there's something down, we will know. We also note that there is an area of rotation here. This is going to be crossing Alabama Highway 17. No tornado warning on this. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of northern Washington County, including the places like Jordan, I should say, right in through here. Alabama Highway 17. This also includes Alabama Highway 56. Let's watch this one and see if we get a tornado warning on that. Let me quickly check our other storms. We'll also have to watch this other storm back in Greene County, Mississippi. That one right there is going to be crossing the state line into Washington County just like that over the next little bit. Let me also have a quick look at these storms in parts of Conecuh and Escambia. Good news is I don't see anything there. So focusing on our storm right at Jackson, Alabama. Let's go back over to LD1, which is our big radar view, and show you what's happening across the region. For folks in Pensacola, Mobile, Daphne, Fairhope, Spanish Fort, Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, you are okay. The issues are to the north today, and I expect if we have more tornado warnings today, which seems like a reasonable probability at this point, they probably will set up in this zone. In fact, at the tail end of this radar view, you can see that we've added Conecuh, Butler, and Crenshaw counties. You'll see them pop on, there they are, into the tornado watch that's valid until 6 o'clock tonight. And so what that means is if you are in Washington, Clark, Monroe, Conecuh, Butler, Wilcox, or Crenshaw counties in southwest Alabama, you are now involved in this tornado watch, meaning this is the zone that's pretty ripe for the development of a few tornadoes over the next few hours. Closer to the coast, and even in Escambia and Covington here in South Alabama, the air is not as unstable, and the better dynamics of this weather system are passing a bit to the north. Now, you still have a severe weather risk all across the area, but the risk is lower in these zones south of the tornado watch. And so you see these scattered showers and thunderstorms that continue to bubble up across the entire area. These are going to continue to move just like this, just a bit to the north of due east today. That's kind of the motion. These are moving at about 30 miles per hour. Let's go back to our storm in Clark County. Again, this is the reason we are here. And this is now, again, right at Jackson, coming into areas near Walker Springs. We will see if the Weather Service decides to continue this tornado warning. But I want to give a heads up to folks in the community of Allen and also Suggsville. This is Suggsville right here. Those two communities, just know you would be next if the Weather Service decides to extend this tornado warning down the road coming into areas here in southern Clark County. So again, just putting you on notice, Allen, Suggsville, all right? You got the old Suggsville water tower right there on US Highway 84 at the top of the hill where the old line road comes into 43 right there. From there back down to Suggsville and Allen. Those are the areas that could have a tornado warning next if the Weather Service decides to extend this warning. Let's put this loop in motion now. I'll show you what happened over the last 30 minutes. As you can see, this cell came out of Mississippi and kind of developed here in Washington County, and it strengthened as it was coming into areas near Leroy, right there near the Tombigbee River and US Highway 43. The Weather Service issued a severe thunderstorm warning first and then chose to upgrade it to a tornado warning. And so we still have an active tornado warning for the next 4 minutes for parts of southern Clark County, specifically for areas near Jackson, Toddtown, really south of Toddtown at this point. And also Walker Springs. So Walker Springs is kind of next in line to potentially see this tornado that would be right at Jackson, Alabama. Let's kind of watch that loop together. And I'm just checking our sources to see if we have any other reports coming in from the Weather Service or any spotters in that area. Again, we want to thank Ben Ferry at Dixie Storms on Twitter. He sent in this image. Let's put that image up once again, because we get so caught up in the radar view. This is what the storm looked like about 10 minutes ago as it was crossing Highway 43. And so this is your storm. This is your tornado warning storm. This is the main event right now. And while I don't necessarily see anything touching the ground, this photo illustrates the problem that we have in Alabama and Northwest Florida in that we have trees, all right? Anytime you have trees, I don't care where you are, you're not gonna go outside and see a tornado. That's just not the way it works. And so, if we were out over the Great Plains where you could see 20 miles, it'd be totally different. But we are so blessed with wonderful trees, but they get in the way during tornado warning coverage. And so please heed the warning if you get a warning today, and don't try to go outside and see it. Back over to LB1. In addition to the tornado warning, we also have a plethora of other warnings in effect. We have a severe thunderstorm warning for Vinegar Bend and areas here south of Chatham due to this storm that could be producing large hail and gusty winds. Here in western Washington County. You've also got a supercell storm just to the north of the county seat of Chatham in Washington County, moving along just like this. And again, our only tornado warning for the next few minutes is for southern Clark County. I'm going to see if the Weather Service is going to opt to extend that warning. And see if they're indeed going to extend the warning. I have not received confirmation of that yet. By the way, looking at several downpours here along Interstate 65 from Georgiana back down to Evergreen, Owassa. You've also got the Range Bruton exit right there, or Repton Bruton, I should say, and Castleberry Lennox exit, which is exit 83. All those exits on I-65 from 77 back up to 107, which is the Georgiana exit. Heavy rain, all right? This is heavy rain. I think I said 107. Georgiana is right here. Georgiana is exit 114. I apologize. You go south of there, you get to the Grace Garland exit, which is exit 107, and then you come on down to 101, which is Owassa. So again, in those areas, heavy rain, all right? These storms are below severe limits. We did hear some thunder at our studio location in Bruton, Alabama about 20 minutes ago, but storms are now east of town. So again, let's go back to our main storm over here in Clark County. And y'all know the way it works. If you're a longtime viewer, listener, reader, whatever you may be, thank you for watching our products and services. But whenever we have a single tornado warning, we focus on who's in danger, all right? It's not that we're ignoring you if you're elsewhere across our region, but we have to focus on the individual warnings. And in a second, literally in a matter of seconds, I should say, we're going to see if the Weather Service decides to extend that warning. I don't think they are, based on the fact that we don't have a warning just yet. But nonetheless, watching this supercell storm that potentially still could be producing a tornado. Let's go back over to the iPad view because again, all right, there it is. We actually have a new tornado warning. This is going to be an extension. The Weather Service kind of waited until the very last minute, but we're going to get a new tornado warning for those communities that I just called out for Allen, also areas near Suggsville. It's going to be just like this. The polygon will pop up in just a minute. In fact, back over to LB1, and this is a new warning. And so what's happening, we're replacing the other tornado warning, the Weather Service is, with a new tornado warning that's going to be valid until 3:15 p.m. Current time is 2:45. So this is going to be an additional 30 minutes on this particular storm. And again, watching a situation where we have a possible tornado near Jackson, Alabama, coming into areas near Suggsville and Allen. This is a very rural part of southern Clark County after you get away from Jackson. In other words, the tornado is now moving away from Jackson. And in addition to the tornado threat, let me not forget, this also could be producing large hail that could be damaging hail if your car is outside. For parts of Allen, Suggsville, and also Gosport. If you're at Gosport, you are now under this new tornado warning. And so we haven't called out Gosport until right now. You need to be implementing that tornado safety plan now as we have a possible tornado in southern Clark. What you got, ma'am?
I have someone reporting large hail for Highway 43 and 69 at the time.
Okay, thank you so much. We just got a report of large hail. Who reported that, if I may ask?
Pam Lee.
All right, Pam Lee, thank you so much for that report. And you said that that was at the corner of 43 and 69, which is going to be over here on the western side of town in Jackson, right in through here. And that lines up perfectly with what we're saying. This streak, in other words, that purple hue that you see right in through here is likely a hail shaft producing large hail coming into areas near Suggsville, in addition to a possible tornado on the back flank of this, basically coming out of Jackson. Have you had any reports of damage so far? All right, that is a good thing. Again, no reports of damage thus far, but again, patiently waiting to see exactly what we've got going on in southern Clark. That's going to be a separate tornado warning message, what you're hearing in the background. And so again, let's kind of do a reset since we're dealing with a new tornado warning. I'm meteorologist Spinks Megginson. It is 2:48 p.m. on Sunday, January 9th, 2022. Joined alongside executive producer Bentley Martin, and we are tracking a possible tornado in southern Clark County. This is not an issue for Thomasville, Grove Hill, or Fulton. If you are at Grove Hill or points north in Clark County, this is never going to be an issue for you. This is strictly for southern Clark County, and this polygon does include places like Gosport, Suggsville, Walker Springs, still under the gun from this possible tornado. I can tell you, if you're at Jackson, we'll give you an all clear. Right? I do not know exactly what has happened at Jackson just yet. Hopefully nothing. But this thing came right over the city of Jackson, Alabama. And so what we're telling you, if you're at Jackson, you can come out of that tornado hiding place at this point and you'll get an all clear now as the cell has clearly moved to the east of you, really east-northeast of you, I should say, moving just like this, coming out towards Walker Springs. Same thing at Toddtown. Toddtown was just north of that first warning, but if you're at Toddtown, we'll give you an all clear. Basically areas west of US Highway 43, I will give you an all clear, all right? So if you are located west of US Highway 43, the hail threat and the tornado threat west of Highway 43 gets an all clear. But for areas east of 43, out here towards Walker Springs, Suggsville, you've also got areas near Gosport included in this tornado warning. You are in the danger zone, all right? You got about 5 minutes. We'll give you 5 minutes in Suggsville before you need to have those tornado warning preparations complete. What does that mean? Let's put up the graphics. This is what you need to do in Suggsville right now, or Gosport, or areas near Walker Springs if you're just tuning in. Lowest floor, site-built structure away from windows and doors. If you can get underground, that's great, but you do not have to be underground to survive a tornado. You know, there's this myth that goes around that says, oh, I have to be in a basement. No, you don't. Get to the lowest floor, middle part of the house, put something on your head, all right? Helmet, doesn't matter what kind. Bicycle, baseball, football, all great choices. Protect your head, protect your skull region, as we know that most folks that have bad outcomes in tornado warnings, it's because of blunt force trauma to the head. And so we don't say that to scare anyone, but we want folks to do the right thing and get sheltered and protect your head whenever there's a tornado warning. Let's go back over to LD1. And let's check on these other cells back in Washington County because we do have 2 active severe thunderstorm warnings that are in progress for areas near Fruitdale. This also is going to include areas near Vinegar Bend. Tibby involved in this severe thunderstorm warning. And also we're tracking a cell near and just north of Chatham. This is going to be to the north of the airport, near Yarbo and near Jordan, coming out towards St. Stephen's. And so we'll have to watch this one. It looks a little bit more impressive in terms of its overall structure. Let's go back over to the iPad. I tell you, we may get a tornado warning shortly for parts of Wilcox County as well in South Alabama. So just to set the stage, this is Washington County, this is Clark County, Monroe, Conecuh, Escambia, this is Wilcox. That is an area of rotation very near Yellow Bluff. That's going to be moving just like that towards Camden. And so watch that. We may get a tornado warning imminently for parts of Wilcox County. The only tornado warning that we have as of 2:51 p.m., however, is for parts of southern Clark County, and this thing is very near the community of Walker Springs. That circulation has been mighty persistent. Right in through there is your possible tornado, and it is moving very similar to that, all right, just to the east, or excuse me, just to the north of due east. And so on that trajectory, what we are expecting is that this cell will cross US 84, somewhere near Gosport. All right, I can't tell you exactly where. There's no way to know if there is a tornado down exactly where it's going to cross 84. Let's go back over to the big radar, LD1. You can kind of see a hook echo on radar. Looks like a kidney bean right in through there, and we would expect the tornado to be right at Walker Springs, right in through here to the south of that hail core. It's going to be interesting to see if this cell to the south can kind of disrupt the inflow into this tornado warned storm. Sometimes that will happen. You'll get a cell that's kind of overproducing, and then one will develop to the south, and this one has the potential to take over and become the dominant cell as it moves just like that. And so I say that to say that could be an issue in about 45 minutes for Mexie and Monroeville. All right, so if you're at Mexie or Monroeville, just know you're going to have some nasty weather moving in from the west. No way to know if there's going to be a tornado just yet or anything like that, but you are under a tornado watch, meaning conditions are favorable for the development of tornadoes. But again, your tornado warning is right in through here. That's where the possible tornado is. And this is going to be approaching the Alabama River. If you're familiar with this area, you know that you've got the, I don't know what it is now. It was the ARP, the Alabama River Pulp years ago. If you're near that paper mill, you are involved in this active tornado warning that's valid until 3:15 local time. That's kind of the big landmark over here in Monroe and near Clark County. Let's take down the banner down here for a second, and I can kind of, again, set the scene for you. The county line, which is right here, is just to the east of Gosport, and the Alabama River sits just a bit to the east of there. In fact, your river is going to be right in through here. Here's the Claiborne Lock and Dam. You go just a bit to the south of there. This is going to be US Highway 84. Splitting the difference, you've got that Alabama River Pulp Mill, and again, I apologize, I don't know what company owns that ARP paper mill anymore, but it was ARP years ago. Possible tornado is going to be very near that paper mill in about 10 minutes. So if you're at that paper mill, you need to be implementing that tornado safety plan now, all right? Don't wait. If you're driving to work this afternoon to that paper mill, ARP, right here near the Claiborne Lock and Dam to the west of Monroeville, you're under the gun from a possible tornado that's going to be moving in from the west-southwest, just like that. Possible tornado is going to be right here. And again, you can kind of see that kidney bean shape right there. That's going to be your hook. Inflow notch there. Possible tornado, I should say, is very near Walker Springs. The good news is that cell, let's go back over to the iPad and look at this on velocity. That rotation is not nearly as robust as it once was, but just like I said a minute ago, what may be happening, that southern cell may be taking over and becoming dominant. If so, we may need a new tornado warning in the next 5 to 10 minutes for areas near Choctaw Bluff, tiny community of Homewood, and ultimately Mexie and Purdue Hill along US Highway 84 in Monroe County. So again, just putting you on notice, if you know someone at Purdue Hill, at the top of the hill, or areas near Claiborne Lock and Dam, or Mexie, just know you may get a tornado warning in the next few minutes. That's something indeed that could happen. Let's go over to the graphics because I do want to show you some forecast information quickly. We have an active tornado watch that's valid until 6 o'clock tonight for all parts of Washington, Clark, Monroe, and now Conecuh, Butler, and Crenshaw counties. And so if you're in those counties, you have a tornado watch that's valid until 6 o'clock tonight. We also have this level 2 risk. And what that means is scattered severe thunderstorms are expected in this zone. We'll show you the local view. And again, the timing on this is basically now to 9 o'clock. You can see that storms are forecast to move over here into south central Alabama, southeast Alabama, and ultimately the Florida Panhandle region by the time we get into the evening hours. But right in through here is the area of concern that we're tracking. Let's go back over to the big radar view, LV1. We'll put this in motion and show you that these are supercell storms. No doubt about it. These are discrete, isolated cells that are ramping up and occasionally producing bad behavior. In other words, tornadoes, large hail, gusty winds. That's the type of issues that we're seeing today in these storms. And again, the only active tornado warning that we have as of 2:56 p.m. is for parts of Clark County. All right, Clark County involved in this active tornado warning does not include Thomasville, Fulton, Grove Hill, Simcoe, Coffeyville. If you're at those places, you're not involved in this active tornado warning. Here's your polygon. And again, for those of you that just may be tuning in, we've given an all clear to Jackson and to Toddtown. Those communities are now back behind where this cell is moving. And so again, all clear, Jackson, Toddtown, areas back in Washington County as well. Leroy and St. Stephen's, you got an all clear about 20 minutes ago. The issues are specifically from Walker Springs up to Suggsville and Gosport in southern Clark County at this point. You see any reports there, Bentley? Nothing. All right, well, you know what they say in these situations, no news is good news. And so hopefully what's happened here is that this cell produced some rotation in the atmosphere, but perhaps didn't drop a tornado that, did damage. And so that could be the situation that we have now. We just don't know if there's a tornado on the ground. But look, that's a possibility. Anytime you have a tornado warning like this, there's enough evidence, according to the National Weather Service, that this cell could be dropping a tornado very near Walker Springs and Suggsville, coming into areas near Gosport and the Alabama River, just like that. Motion is just a bit to the north of due east at about 28 or 30 miles per hour. And so what that means is if you are at Gosport or along U.S. Highway 84, in southeastern Clark County, you need to be taking action to protect life and property. By the way, if you're at Whatley, you are now out of the tornado warning polygon. So again, Grove Hill, you're good. Whatley, you're good. You've got the railroad, the Norfolk Southern Railroad that comes through town in Whatley. Just to the south of that bridge, if you know downtown Whatley per se, you got the railroad bridge. 84 runs across the railroad. Just about 2 miles to the south of that, you got a tornado warning coming out here towards Suggsville. And for those of you familiar with this area, let's just kind of paint the picture. Again, you got your railroad bridge here. You go up the hill and you reach the top of that hill at the old Suggsville Water Tower. This is the old line road right there. And this is actually the divide between the watersheds of the Tom Bigby River and the Alabama River. And so it's an old Indian jargon term, the Old Line Road. And so at the intersection of 84 and the Old Line Road, there's that water tower. Basically from that landmark back down 84 all the way to the Alabama River near the county line where you've got all the pasture land and the silos, that's the area involved in this active tornado warning. This possible tornado may move just a little bit to the south. And you know what? It seems that the Weather Service has just canceled the warning. Let's make sure of that before we give an all clear. And you know what? Let's go back over to the iPad. I see why they've done this. Again, we kind of alluded to this about 2 minutes ago. There's the cancellation message. And so as of 3 o'clock, we now have no active tornado warnings. The tornado warning is gone. The cell has weakened, but we're going to keep going just for a little bit because this is a concern. All right, that little blip on radar, it's this cell to the south of the tornado warning storm, and I guarantee you what's happened here. Let's go back over to LV1. Guarantee you what's happened. This southern cell has stolen the inflow from the formerly tornado-warned storm, and this may ramp up over the next 5 to 10 minutes as it moves towards Mexie, Purdue Hill, and Monroeville. And so you do not, as of 3 o'clock p.m., have a tornado warning in Monroeville, Mexie, or Purdue Hill. But I'm just telling you, with a look like that, you may get one over the next 5 to 10 minutes. So let's keep the coverage going for now. You never like to get off the feed and come back in 2 minutes if you got another warning. What's that? Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I don't know who sent that in, but we appreciate that information. I referred to it as ARP, which is what it was years ago, but Georgia Pacific now owns that paper mill, which is right there on the Alabama River, west of Monroeville, out here towards Purdue Hill. If you know this area, you know that at the top of the hill at Purdue Hill, you got the post office and the gas station right there on US Highway 84. Come down the hill, swing a right, you go up to the paper mill, all right? And so in those areas, about to have heavy rain, gusty winds, lots of lightning, lots of loud thunder with this storm. In fact, you see the strike counter there showing about 300 strikes of lightning in the last 10 minutes with this storm. But again, what we're concerned about now is this southern cell that's in Clark County currently that is rotating. Let's go back over to the iPad, and again, we're going to paint the picture for you here of what happened. So again, there's your formerly tornado-warned storm that moved right over Jackson. I still have not heard anything from Jackson. No damage reports that I am aware of as of 3:02 p.m. But what happened after this thing moved over Jackson, it really kind of fizzled out, and we are seeing now a secondary storm form a bit to the south of the formerly tornado-warned storm. And so what that means is let's go back over to LD1, you may be seeing this southern cell at Gainestown, or just to the north of Gainestown, kind of take over in dominance and move towards Mexie and Monroeville over the next few minutes. But because we don't have any active tornado warnings, and because I continue to watch this signature and it looks fairly broad at this point, we're going to move our coverage back over to the Red Zone Weather app. And if we have more tornado warnings, we'll come back on and bring you the very latest. Before we go, however, I do want to mention we have an ongoing severe thunderstorm warning, meaning you could have gusty winds and large hail near the communities of St. Stephen's, back over to Yarbo. You've also got a severe thunderstorm coming into Camden in Wilcox County. That one's going to be moving out towards Rosebud and near the Miller's Ferry lake there as well. You've also got numerous scattered showers and thunderstorms happening along Interstate 65, extending from Greenville back down the interstate to Evergreen, all those storms pushing off to the east. We're going to have more warnings, I'm afraid, over the next few hours. Don't be surprised to get a warning. And again, this is a region-wide thing. We have an active tornado watch for Washington, Clark, Monroe, Conecuh, Butler, and Crenshaw counties. But even south of there, in these counties, Mobile, Baldwin, Escambia, and Covington in Alabama, Walton, Okaloosa, Santa Rosa, and Escambia in northwest Florida, you still have a lower-end severe weather threat over the next few hours. So what we're going to do, again, going back to coverage in the Red Zone Weather app, I'm meteorologist Spinks Megginson, joined alongside executive producer Bentley Martin. We thank her for her service today. Glad to have her back in studio. And what we're going to do, again, covering it in the app, if we have more tornado warnings, we'll come straight back on Facebook Live and bring you the very latest. If you will mash ending, we'll end the broadcast, and we will see you soon. I hope you have a good evening.